We already know M80 has placed themselves in the upper finals, but it's time to find out who will be joining them in that single BO3 that separates these teams from making it to LAN, fighting for their spot in VCT. Welcome back to the desk here as we get ready to watch Moist Moguls versus the Guard, a rematch again from the group stages with a little bit of a twist. The last time these teams played, one of the players was absent, so it obviously makes things a little bit hard to analyze. But looking at this Moist Moguls roster, this is a team who looked okay in Split 1, looked good in mid-season face-off, looked great in Split 2.
Look, it's been a journey watching this team just develop, watching the fans get behind this team, and it's every week I felt that we were watching this team just slowly but surely getting to a point where we could all very confidently say, yeah, they're a top 3 team, without a doubt. And that's what they've done, right? That's the work that they've put in and the development that has gone through into this team. A lot of credit gets tossed around. Odorous being probably one of the most notable guys, the assistant coach. On Twitter lately, everyone praises him, the entire team. So for Moist Moguls, they're probably, for me, the best surprise to come out of the open qualifiers. Dumb and Oxygen, but I think the way that Split 2 has gone and the way playoffs has run so far, Moist Moguls are my pride and joy of what Tier 2 should be.
Yeah, and Moist Moguls has been very dominant in Split 2. They've been the only defeated team. They've only lost 2 maps out of 12 that were played, and it's just been exciting to watch this team continue to grow and get better. And even with the team chemistry, watching them all trust each other, as they were saying in some of their interviews, and that's nice as a player to know that your teammates have your back both in-game and out.
I gotta be honest, the hardest part for me, and Chad, I love you, brother, but it's hard for me to accept that Odorous is now viewed as a tactical mind. I mean, there's a classic clip of him saying, honestly, I think I'm better than you, and then a good player saying, honestly, you suck. This is like an old OG clip that people have used as a stream sub alert. It's such a notorious clip. Odorous was always this player who had really good mechanics, but to see him now transcend into a coaching role and not just coach, not just do the job, but actually exceed expectations.
Yeah.
Set this team up for success, get the praise of his team, his players. That's huge. I think it's awesome to see, and it's kind of catching me off guard. It's a little bit hard for me to accept that that's the case, but good work, brother. Obviously, what you're doing behind the scenes is working out. If you look, though, this is their results against against the Guard back in the group stages. Even though the Guard was playing with a stand-in, it was still a close game.
Yeah, I think that, they were playing with a coach. I'm going to say the joke. They were playing with a manager. And I think the Guard put up really good numbers against Moist Moguls given their circumstances. Then again, Moist Moguls, at the same time, they were just on this invincible run during Split 2. They maintained that invincible run. They are currently on a 6-game win streak. Winning here today would put them at 7. I think a lot of expectations for this team is to just continue to, improve. And that's something that we've seen week in and week out. And, a lot of credit goes to Odorous. A lot of credit goes to Tan. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'm just calling him Tan for now, their head coach. But I feel a lot of people maybe don't look at the IGL, that being Fly. He's been a guy that I think has constantly been showing us as the viewers, and every time we get to interview him, he's been very, very fun to watch, and he's this really confident kid that I feel brings a lot to the table. When we talk to him, I just get nothing but yeah, we're them basically. And Flyer radiates this calm energy that personally sits really well for me, and I think it shows in every single week. Every match they lose, if there's a map that they drop, there's some kind of change. Even when they win, there's some kind of innovative level that Fly is bringing to the table alongside his coaching staff.
And keep in mind, Fly plays Viper, right? And Viper is a very crucial agent to play in terms of your timing. And to see these stats here for Fly, that means that he has his timing down to a T, which is so important, especially if you said he's doing is adapting. And I think that's very important for his team to continue to succeed.
Yeah, and I think the success that Fly brings, we saw in tenfold in Split 2. Every single stat category they were in first place. Look at these, they were 5-0. Again, this was their invincible run. No one could touch them. The Guard came the closest with that 16-14 win on Split. And then I just felt that maybe if the Guard had Tex playing, things could have been a little bit different. But this was the Moist Moguls that, we saw grow from Split 1, develop even further in the mid-season face-off, and then coming into Split 2, we kind of expect them to perform well. We did not expect them to play this well. 5-0, untouchable the entire time.
I mean, this is a great thing, too, for Flya as an individual who we've been talking about a little bit here. If you remember Flya, he had that brief stint with FaZe, and it wasn't really the greatest showing from him, but I don't think it's his fault. It just was like kind of like, we're just going to plug him in. And I think a lot of people looked at him and go, who?
Yeah.
Because at the time, maybe there were other free agents that people thought that team should go for. But obviously, there were some other issues going on behind the scenes. He's come into this team, and he's had a chance to kind of redefine his image and create this obvious statue of accomplishments. Like, he's got this just monolith that's building.
Yeah.
And all these things he's been able to accomplish in such a short period of time with this team. And I feel like this team is on the rise even higher than they've gone already. They came in split one as breakthrough. They got signed. Things started to turn around. Mid-season face-off was pretty good showing. People forget how close they were to actually almost playing in the upper finals in that event. Same with Oxygen as they went to a 3-map series against M80 and almost beat them. They were even very close to beating them in a 2-0 that would have put them in that position. Now they're here in playoffs and they're coming off of a dominant group stage run. It's truly incredible what this team has been able to accomplish. However, on the flip side of that coin, they are facing off against a team that is incredibly talented. They are matching up against the Guard, and we've watched the Guard basically tear through their opponents like tissue paper. This team feels like the number 2 team pretty easily. And while we praised M80 as the number 1 team, it feels like the Guard is not really that far behind. It's like right on top of them. And you even mentioned it. It's one of the few teams that's been able to make M80 bleed. Yeah. Whereas, you know, maybe some other teams have struggled against them. The Guard kind of feels evenly matched against that team. So this is a difficult battle for this Moist roster.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of factors that go into what make the Guard so good. They're like the pinnacle of Tier 2 Valorant. They're uber consistent. They're eerily consistent with how well they play. Like, they're always beating the teams that, you know, 100% they should be beating. And, you know, when it comes to M80, there are very close series. Like, the only time I felt the Guard really slipped up was during the mid-season face-off against G2. But ever since then, they've had a tremendous bounce back. And it's, you know, it's a group of 5 guys that, with the core 4, they've been playing literally forever. They've been to LAN together, they've been on the international stage, they have come through the Tier 2 system together, and so you have this really nice family environment with these 5 guys, and you know, Tech slotted in almost perfectly in my opinion, and they created this insane machine. Like yesterday, what we got to see with them against FaZe was just ridiculous. It was the most threatening, the most potent Guard that we have ever seen, and you can look at the stats here and how just utterly dominant they were in every single stat category when it came to team play.
When you think of a dominant team, I think we all can agree that we think of the Guard. They've been consistently at the top. And again, yesterday versus FaZe, as you were saying, they just shut down everything and anything that was being brought to them. They have been looking so strong, and they're only getting better. They 13-2 on Fracture, 13-6 on Lotus. Everybody was positive in their stats. And a player stood out to me particularly yesterday, which was Tex.
Yeah, I think Tex was certainly, like, when it comes to what makes this team work, a lot of people look at like your main jet duelist, and I think personally for the Guard, it's not always one star player kind of pulling the team through all these sticky situations, but yesterday it absolutely was Tex. Like, he played to levels I feel like we hadn't seen before, and I don't know what Josh RT did during like the week off that they had, but he created this insane machine that just works around Tex extremely well. And you can see here, yesterday, his stats were off the chart in comparison to how he's been playing overall. Yesterday was just outlandish when it came to, and I think you transition, you know, the confidence that Tex had and the way that he played yesterday alongside like this crazy machine that Josh RT has built into today. Moist Moguls are going to have an extremely tough time shutting someone like him down, and that's where I'm looking at the head-to-head between Tex and Sim. Sim has been like a new gen duelist. How does he stand off against a guy that is just on an absolute tear right now?
And it's important to note, too, you were talking about the match that these two teams faced off against each other in during the group stages. This is the player that couldn't be there. Tex was unable to play. It wasn't just a matter of, oh, like their coach had to sub in. The coach didn't play the same roles, so they had to like fully swap roles, and it was very awkward as a result. So having him back, not only playing in peak form, but just in general is huge because it allows the team to get into that comfortable territory that we know they feel good in. And at the start of the year, and we were talking about this during the quarterfinal matches as well, a lot of people came into it thinking, how well is Tex going to mesh with this roster? Because we knew the team had a ton of history with the core 4. They lost Saya player. They bring in Tex. Is Tex going to be that guy? Is he going to be their permanent fifth solution? And the answer is yes. Clearly, things are working with Tex. If anything, they've only gotten better, and there's a potential that it can continue to get better because he's still finding his way into that comfort here on this roster. So I look forward to the things that the Guard is going to do with this team. It's certainly a difficult match for Moist, but it's also a team that had a really good group stage. They're on the rise as well. This is all the makings of an intense battle, but enough about that from us. We had a chance to sit down with the players and talk to them about their feelings on today's match. Let's take a look.
You know, from the start, we knew that we were a playoff caliber team, and even when we had like our rough start to split one, the whole time we knew how capable we were, and we just had to start to find our footing, you know. And we had to go through, especially as like a new team, you go through growing pains, and once you start to hit trouble for the first time, it's really how you adapt as a team to those problems, you know, is whether or not you'll continue to have success. And those initial hurdles, we did a really good job of overcoming, and that allowed us to show off our true potential in the split 2, which I don't even think we've shown off our best yet, you know.
Unexpected challenges. Like, a lot of us have been getting, well, not really sick. Like, we've had Jake's not really feeling well, and then Ian had that concussion. We would be flawless if we didn't have to play with Josh, even though he played really well. But yeah, I would say not much unexpected obstacles, to be honest.
You know, we went 5-0, so it was obviously like a pretty like smooth ride. We had like a couple bumps here where you know, we dropped the map to G2. We probably should have like closed that map out. And then we lost the map to Guard when they had their coach. But I mean, I think other than that, it's been pretty smooth. Our practices have been, you know, really good. Obviously, we've made a lot of improvements to be able to like go 5-0. So I think we're in like a good spot, and I think we're all like pretty confident and pretty comfortable. And now that, you know, we have our boot camp coming up, we're all pretty excited for that. So I think, you know, we might even become, you know, a step better than we were before.
I'd say the main thing is just the org, being able to come to an office every single day and play in the same room with my teammates. Like, you can see them behind me. We're here every single day practicing. So I would say that's it's like one of our advantages, and yeah, it's just a great privilege.
I think if we can just, you know, not overcomplicate it and kind of like simplify the way that we play and make sure that, you know, nobody's taking any like extra steps or anything like that, I think, you know, I think we can probably just beat anybody here.
Playoffs is just, yeah, it's definitely a lot more pressure. Everyone's gonna be on their A game, just trying to be their best, because realistically this is like the last chance of the year to make it, you know what I mean? So if you don't bring your best, then you're just gonna get left behind. I don't know, I think that we're the best team in challengers, and I think as long as we play our game and just don't make too many mistakes, then we should be like, I think we have the potential to just win it all in Ascension.
Honestly, I mean, for me personally, I'm like pretty excited. I don't think I'm like really like antsy or nervous or anything. I don't know if, you know, anybody else on the team might be either. You know, we'll have like less time maybe to prepare for a match because of, you know, just how a playoff works. But I mean, I think everybody's like super excited, especially, you know, because we're all gonna meet and play in the same place. So it'll be a really good experience for us, and I think we're all looking forward to it.
It's like a brotherhood, like with loyalty, because during the off season when franchise happened, a lot of us had offers from some franchise teams, but in the end we decided to just grind out a year of challengers and play together, because we all love playing together. Yeah, it's just we love playing with each other. We know what we're capable of, and we're confident that we're just gonna make the franchise league going through challengers.
Both teams confident. You know, you heard A Proto say it right at the beginning. We knew we were a playoff team from the day we first started playing with each other. And even though we had some mistakes, we corrected them. And Jonah P saying, hey, we feel confident that we're going to be in Franchise League next year. Like, that's always been the goal. That's where we've been thinking we'd be. And honestly, that's where the community kind of thought they would be. So it makes perfect sense that they feel comfortable making it to that point. But they got to get past the hurdle of Moist Moguls. Let's take a look at the map picks and bans to see how it's going to shape up. It is a little bit odd. I was not anticipating this map pool, Sully. I think both of us were a little bit thrown by the bind pick.
Yeah, bind was like, I just don't know. Like, it feels like it's a map that neither team have really touched all that often. Like, the handful of times that we have seen it from the Guard, it's been like 3 times in all of Challengers, and they played Mad Lions on it. They won that map, not very convincingly against, you know, I'm saying Mad Lions, but it wasn't that confident. It was 13-11. So I think Haven makes the most sense between these two teams. They played it before. That did go the way of Moist Moguls, 13-10. And then Lotus being on our side, I think it's a map that both teams kind of, you know, float around, and they definitely like that map, but it's not like their mainstay. I think Bind, though, is like, I don't know, Bach. Like, I don't know what to make of this. Maybe M, you have something to say about it, but I just feel Bind is like a very tricky spot to go. I think Haven is a very highly contested map between these two teams, but Bind, like, there's no convincing storyline between either of them.
Yeah, I feel like watching Bind has happened a lot in the franchise league, so there's definitely a lot of different content out there and different ideas flowing through, so that's maybe something that they've been doing. They've probably been scrimming Bind a few times on the side because, I mean, we haven't seen it from Moist at all in Split 2, but I think that's probably one of the surpriser maps that we were talking about. Haven is a really good map for Moist, so that's a typical pick, but Bind, I'm really excited to watch because you can go any way here. You can do the Viper and the Harbor, which is a really annoying meta right now, and I'm wondering if they're going to bring something different that we haven't seen on that map.
I mean, we saw that in our first series. There were things that we did not anticipate. Oxygen Esports ran compositions that literally no one has run before. And again, I applaud them for their bravery in trying something new. I think that that's something that you definitely have to cheer for because you want to see teams try to innovate. It was just a very risky time for it to happen, and obviously didn't work out. And one could argue that M80 was the stronger team, and they could have come in with standard comps and could have had the same result. It's very possible that that could have been the outcome. So, but Bind is a map where we've seen Sully's favorite agent, one we saw a lot of in that last series. We have seen teams bring out Gecko on this map. We've seen teams bring out Harbor, like Em was saying. We've seen teams experiment even with a Yoru going a little bit of a ways back, but it's something that we have seen. Heck, even at this level of play, we saw Chamber still make appearances in Bind. So interesting to see what they decide to do when we get to that map, but we are going to be kicking things off on Haven, and we'll see what the agent comps look like here. I do feel like this is where it should be easy to predict. I don't anticipate significant changes coming in here, Sully.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we can like expect changes-wise is maybe like for the Guard. A lot of people are going to probably look in their VRLR and be like, oh, well, they played the Raids. This is a major change-up. They are doing slight changes in the sense that they're bringing, you know, Trent was playing the Rays. Now Trent can kind of go back to his comfort pick of playing the Viper, where I think Josh RT was playing it the last time. For Moist Moguls, no changes whatsoever. But for the Guard, I think it's very minor changes. Put Tex back on the Jet. Trent has looked good at times on the Viper, so I'm happy to see him there. They're running that double controller, which can be very annoying to deal with on Haven. The Viper walls, and I love the way the Guard used them in that one match that we got to see, but I think now that you've got Trent back on it, you have your star Jet player back in, it should be a lot more comfortable coming out from the Guard.
We'll see what they decide to do as they get into this first map. The agents are locked in. We've got our casters standing by. It's Dustin Shift. It's all yours.
This should be a real fun one. I'm hoping for it because we had potential of some tight matches in the last 2 days, but this one right here, I have a lot of faith that could possibly see all 3 maps for the first time so far in this playoffs picture. Because let's be honest, like we kind of kept talking about, not only with the desk in the previous segment, but kind of leading up into this playoffs, Moist Moguls have really put themselves near the top, if not at the top of the North American conversation point. So meeting up with the Guard, this should be a real electric one, especially considering the outcome the last time these two teams had met.
Yeah, similarly to the last matchup, we again have 2 top 4 teams clashing here in the upper bracket semifinals, and we're on Haven, a map that the Guard has been a little bit hit or miss on so far this year. They're going back to this double controller, but they put the Jet in for the Rays compared to when they played Moist Moguls the last time. And then Moist Moguls is just sticking to the tried and true. They are 6-0 on Haven. They have been a dominant force on this map, and Cup in as a slight favorite just based on that alone. But remember, the last time these two teams played, it was 13-10, so very tight, and the Guard were playing with their coach. That's a huge factor. That's a big difference. They were missing Tex, one of the best players in Challengers. They had Trent playing off role. So this is going to be a different story.
I will say, though, keep your eye on Flya defensively. He has been all over the map with his utility on this breach. And that will have to be the case here once again as the Guard immediately thrust their way on in towards B. Plant will not be contested. It's all about maybe what a Proto can do here through mid-map, because really that's the only point of contact they have that's going to go unchecked. X trying to hold onto the site, does drop some early numbers here for Moist Moguls. The Guard still relying a lot on this B window setup. Moist Moguls taking their time, and once the chaos ensues, expect Sim to start making the play. The smoke comes down. The match has been met, but Sim sneaks out, gets a kill, plus a little extra. Valen, only one. Has to be down to Jonah P to try to get something else done from the front. Proto gets to halfway. Flash comes out. Nice little right click out of Jonah P. Trent needs to assist though. No one's hopped back on for the defuse yet either, and now Trent has an angle at this throwing shoulders. What is a Proto waiting for? Finally gets down to an opportunity to hold it. The pistol, the body block, but the defuse comes out. Oh, goodness.
Dude, I was getting a little bit concerned because he was starting to get some shots on the diffuser there while that guy's right in his face in the window, and it looked like he might get away with it for a moment. That was a wild round, but it does go the way of Moist Moguls. Again, a team that has gone at 6-0 on this map this year, and defensively, they win almost 60% of their rounds. They are in that kind of 7 to 8 round range on a map that can be typically very difficult to win defensive rounds on, so good for them to get off the starting blocks, to win on the pistol, to kind of get that rolling right off the rip. The guard going to invest into the Marshall here on the Jonah P and some Sheriffs.
That was a late retake, though, I'll tell you that much. My goodness. Deep does get tagged on the opening peak, down to half HP. A couple of spam shots just to hope and pray maybe there's going to be a free first blood, but nothing here. We stay 5v5 as the offense repositions.
Yeah, they had some presence towards sewers. They were kind of playing outside garage. They feinted a little bit of long C pressure, got an orb, got out of there. Maybe once again just looking to see if they can fit a plant into B, but the problem this time around is going to be that killjoy utility. And there's a lot of it, and Proto's playing behind Gong, so he's definitely willing to fight as well with this SMG if need be. As here comes the onslaught onto the site. Thanos deployed. Tex gets past it.
Yeah, Tex gets way past this, and I don't know if Proto has any idea this has happened yet. Brock on the way in. Oh, now he's recognized the threat, but Tex at least goes 1 for 1. Trent follows up, clearing off the site from a Proto, and the spike will be collected and backed out. Look at the long lurk on the back here from Trent. He just walks up beside Brock and says, "How you doing?" Free kill on the way. Spike will get a free plant on top of that.
30 seconds
and,
left.
well, matters worse, Trent actually collects a Vandal, so these two Spectres could be held at range.
And he has heaven control. That's like the worst part of this. Now, the one thing they have going for them is a potential flank, but the alarm bot is there, and so is Jonah P. Now, the timing is missed with the Marshall, but the alarm bot has been cleared, so they still get the intel.
Line out. Nice shot by Jonah P. Are you kidding me?
All right.
Thief, last one left. It's not going to make a difference. Thief collects the kill, and the guard will respond, and at that, they'll take a handful of great weapons with them.
Indeed, they pick up 2 Vandals and a Spectre. Phantom purchased by Tex. Valen has plenty of money, to purchase whatever he wants. So, I mean, that is a huge 50 round from the guard. As again, this is a map that they have typically done pretty well on the attacking side, usually in that 6 to 8 round range. M80 has beaten them. Moist obviously beat them when they were having to put up their coach. That's the one thing about the guard is when I say they're hit or miss in the map, all their losses still have been incredibly close games. They've gotten double digits every time they've played this map in their losses. So maybe a little bit better than the record would indicate as far as their ability to perform on this map.
And the other interesting thing about this guard team is that this is a team that had not played Haven at all until halfway through this season. They played it first and foremost during mid-season face-off. So
I'll give you another fun fact real quick. The core 4 of this team from like February through the summer of last year were almost unstoppable on this map. Like they were beating Optic multiple times. They were beating quality VCT teams. So the core of this squad is comfortable on Haven. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Thief this time through. Well done. Gets one plus a little bit of damage onto another. Tex will be tagged up, but healed by Jonah P. The early play from Moist Moguls down A long has also kind of boxed the guard in towards this C long play where the fault line may hit everything here. The flash right on, the dash right on in. Gets red. Flya will upgrade the Sheriff, but too many members still holding. Now down to a Proto. We talked about Moist Moguls and their Sheriff prowess. Maybe a chance there, but as Proto will drop, it's down to Sim and Brock for what was going to be a split retake attempt, and now the alarm bot will make Nat very aware that there is a flank deep. Brock, recon bolt down, Sim on the other side. Neither finding much value nor success, as the guard will take the 3rd round here pretty cleanly, go up 2-1.
Yeah, take advantage of the thrifty, roll it into a victory with 3 players surviving on this round. Seekers coming to the next, but full buy is back from Moist Moguls. Brock does have the Hunter's Fury. Rifle's a plenty no operator for Sim, which is something you'd love to have defensively early, but no problem. He's definitely very capable on the rifle as well, so I don't think he's going to be too harmed by that. Sim certainly one of the next generation of duelists we've seen this year.
Absolutely.
Alongside an Oxy and Redux lately with Oxygen. I mean, he is a power player for sure.
Yeah, big shot right there. Lots of gas, the boy. Hunter's Fury out right off the rip here. Brock kind of desperately hoping for something. The recon bolt didn't really reveal too much. That's going to be instantly a go call for the guard. Make a play over towards C. Seekers will assist on this. Nanostorm keeping it at bay for a moment. Paranoia to follow up. First blood, though, still tallied by Trent 5v4. And with this, Moist Moguls are trying to still fight on top of the site. Oh my goodness, Tex! What a double that is. Thief gives him a good try, but ultimately falls in a proto tag through the Radiant crates. Down to a very difficult 1v3. And he may have to just value the weapon here.
And again, Tex was the guy that wasn't around last time these two teams faced off against each other. But he is such a big tool for this guard team coming in for Saya player this year. Top 5 in ADR, top 10 in ACS and KD. Dude has been really convincing. I mean, that's what I want to get at. Because here's the thing. Last year for Tex, I got a bit concerned with him because it felt like he was a guy who really benefited from the chamber meta. And when he pivoted back to Duelist, when he was on NRG, it was, you know, some kind of growing pains here and there. But on this squad, he has really kind of just grabbed onto the Duelist role and never looked back. And he's gotten better this split versus last split, I would even argue. Like, he has been on top of it.
Absolutely. Early skirmish here at A-Long. Sheriff's out for everybody except for Sim, who likely was looking to get that orb for his knives, but with the early pressure from the guard, that will be denied, and he will have to just see this round come out with just the classic. Fly holding on for maybe a fault line peak here while Thief controls all of C-Long. So Moist Moguls in a decent spot to put a response together here, but Sim will be tied up by the snake bite, tries to dash into danger with the fault line, but does get killed out. Tex holds on towards the site itself. Last one to find is Fly, who does at least find one, but it's a mere consolation prize as the guard make their way on for a plant. And interesting, Proto just kind of falls into sight while a couple of members were reloading. And he does take down one more, leaving Thief into a 1v3.
He does have the Sheriff. He's got health. That's really about all he's got going on his side. Now he's been detected by that guiding lights and know exactly where he's coming from, and Trip will make quick work of him there for the double frag on the round and acquire his Viper's Pit for the future. Again, Trent, another one of those guys who's basically in the top 10 in every category and has been a prospect in that kind of flex role ever since early last year when he became a star of this guard team alongside Saya player. Plays the Viper on this map. Again, they've made that pivot to double controller and away from double initiator over their last couple of games on Haven. And it's working out pretty well for him so far this game, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, for sure. 8-2
Up
start.
4-1.
Yeah, come on. So Moist Moguls will take a timeout. Yeah, you got to talk about it just a little bit here, just based on the fact that, honestly, the guard, outside of the first 2 rounds, they really haven't kind of baited out the defense from moving around. They're just kind of picking their battle and forcing the gunfights. And for Moist Moguls, this may be the conversation point of, okay, if they want to try to just gut check call something, maybe we need to use some of that more early round utility just to try to hold off the guard, make them a little bit more tested on these entries.
Yeah, I think the big thing is going to be getting an operator in Sim's hands as quick as possible. Let him be that dynamic defender. Let him get some, you know, forward angles and early intel, or at least maybe even be able to anchor certain spots. If you can kind of get him set up at long A, you know, clear out sewers, you can start falling back and covering the other 2 sites and trusting him to anchor. And there's a lot of different ways you can go with it, but I think that's the ticket back in for Moist Moguls. Sure. Sim's such a great opper.
Yeah, I mean, he, just looking back at the last time these 2 teams had played on this map, he was 6-2 in opening First Bloods with 4 op kills of his 24 total. So he was the difference maker.
Yep.
In their series on this map last they touched, you know, base here in Haven.
The dude's top 5 in almost every metric throughout Challengers. I mean, he has been a difference maker for Moist Moguls all year long.
Oh, yeah.
This time around, he's going to kind of get swatted away there, not able to really land the mark. It takes a little bit of damage on his way out. That'll keep the defense very intrigued about A. Meanwhile, the guard bouncing back, taking a little bit of mid control, maybe starting to threaten Garage here soon, though the alarm bot will be something they're going to have to get past. They're also poking front B at the same time. I mean, this multi-prong pressure, it's all over the place.
They get through the sentry turret as well, thanks to that poison cloud. How brilliant is that from the guard? sneaking around the utility now can just get the spike safely planted at B. Some tools available here for Moist Moguls to work their way back in particular. If Sim feels good enough to pop the knives, maybe a chance to try to battle with Tex. But the numbers are still so darn convincing. Brock, though, shuts down Tex. Paranoia on the way in. Trent holding close, able to get one, but trades start to favor Moist Moguls. 2v3 situation. Sim turns it to a 2v2 for a small time. Thief now in the 1v2 overall. Toggles the spike. Gets information on Jonah. Clean shots. Has maybe a look at the second. Net. Backs off, comes back to it. Thief will clutch the 1v2, and Moist Moguls have arrived.
And Thief living up to the name, stealing that round away from the guard, who looked in such good control of it. I mean, again, it was a beautiful set of multi-prong pressure all across the map, sneaking the B, catching a player on Link unaware, really just dominating the map control. But then Thief, despite all of the guard's onslaught, slips in here with the help of Sim and pulls off a brilliant clutch. I mean, I feel like most Moguls, a lot of the time you're looking at Sim, who's, again, top 5 in almost every metric, flying a proto, in or near the top 15 in almost every category, but sometimes Thief gets slept on, and he has been that veteran controller for this squad. He is damn good.
You get into a really critical round number 7 here. Full weapons, lots of game-changing ultimates available as well. Lots of information for the guard early towards the front door, even checking the back as from the shadows will clear out that back corner, but Moist Moguls are going to delay contest C. No one was on initially, and now they've got Fly in position with the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, Jonah P able to collect an orb to start building up those Seekers as well. Kind of a big round here. They could totally reset Moist Moguls if they can find it. Maybe force them into a low buy or a full save at that point. Sim has good sewers control with this operator, which is going to free up Brock to be a little bit more flexible in his rotations. Once again, the front door of B is being tested. A proto here with his utility turret up in the corner. Smokes are down, but he's going to get some support here soon.
And it's a double stack nano swarm. So the first one gets toggled with 35 seconds left. If the guard commit in, they will have to deal with the other, plus the potential of a Rolling Thunder to cut across this site. With time running out, this is likely going to have to be a hit coming over. Sim to critical miss. Jonah gets the first kill, and all of a sudden, Moist Moguls, they're a little bit stretched over towards the A side of the map. But the thing about it is now the spike is down as Tex drops. Big contact here for Brock, who gets spammed through the wall. Lockdown in play. Valen gonna get the plant off. Viper's put in place. Rolling Thunder stops the plant from coming down. Wait a second. Could a Proto get here in time to stop? No, it's friendly fire. Doesn't make a difference. Flya stops the plant from happening. No chance for Net to get this down. Thief just needs to stay alive, and he does so perfectly for an eBay clutch. And now Moist Moguls back to within 1.
Oh my goodness, a beautiful sequence of utility from Flya to essentially pin the guard up against the wall of the clock. Rolling Thunder stops the initial plant. Aftershock comes through after that. Then the rifles go firing, and the guard are unable to get the spike down in time. And again, Flya has been one of those redemption arcs where we talked about it yesterday, similar to Poised on FaZe, where he has, taken a rough 2022 and turned it around during the offseason and has really established himself as such a strong player. Great with his utility usage and being a support factor, but also can frag and clutch out when he needs to. And that was, again, just perfectly timed utility to stop the guard from, again, a round they looked dominant in initially.
Agreed.
Like again, the guard throughout that round was showing you one of their key strengths, which is the fact that they have been together for so long and that they have such good chemistry that their mid-rounding is so optimal. Like, they are so good at kind of poking and prodding all across the map, leaving their options open, and then mid-round calling from there on the right mark. And I think they made the right call. It's just Flya was so quick to react with his utility and stuff it.
And the thing about it, too, is, you have to give a little bit of credit maybe off the game plan here for Moist Moguls, saying we don't want to necessarily get caught in the mid-round adaptations that the guard are so prevalent in. Let's just wait for them to make a commitment for their spike and then just play flat-out retake. Because there really hasn't been a lot of early contest yet from Moist Moguls, although I say that, and there's a heavy stack for potentially an A-long contest here, but still, it's one of those things that it feels like Moist Moguls are saying, yeah, you can get cute their mid-round if you want. We'll just hold the majority of our round-winning utility for the end.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, though. It's just that those mind games, because the guard is very capable of just flipping the switch, upping the tempo, and just running it down with the fast pace set piece with good utility, similar to an M80. type team, you know, so you gotta always watch out for that tempo change. I think the Guard is perhaps the most dynamic team tactically in NA Challengers as far as the type of Valorant they're capable of playing. But to Moist Mogul's credit, they're similar.
Yep. Aldrone tags Trent, but does not see Tex. So this defense, which has optly vacated the C site, is going to once again have to kind of play over for a retake. But you've got a Protoss lockdown that can assist for that, and it looks like that's kind of the gamble call here for Moist Moguls. Just stack the right side of the minimap, and then if we need to play for a C retake, we'll just use that all.
Yeah, lockdown definitely going to be available to do just what you said. You got the Bladestorm on Sim, where you can kind of get in there and play close quarters battles and look to take people out. But if the spike goes down, Seekers get out, and the Guard getting good post-plant positioning, this is still not going to be an easy retake even with lockdown.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. Net will lurk in towards mid. Oh, what a flash that is. A little nearsightedness comes out and pushes back Moist Moguls from retaking Garage. Here's those Seekers you were talking about. Timing for Tex to use that to push forward. Oh my goodness! What in the filth is that from Tex? Little transfer from 1 to 2 to 3. And now Brock and a Proto are the last ones left, and they're trying to back down to see if they can save weapons, and Tex is on the hunt.
Again, that was the man that wasn't here last time these two teams faced off against each other in Split 2. But his presence is now here today, and it's being felt rather often, as he, again, has been doing really all Challengers long. He has been certainly right there with every other duelist in Challengers. But again, it comes down to that support utility from the Guard. That's a big part of that. Those Seekers he was able to kind of play off of. Not only that, but dude, they stuffed window, bro. There was no way out. Moist were looking to play the Garage as kind of the tip of the spear of their retake, and that got blunted very quickly by Paranoia, Nano Swarm, you name it. It got launched in there. There was no way out.
That puts a big delay here on Moist Moguls. Economically, just 2 rifles that were carried through the last round will be in play. 2 Sheriffs of Frenzy, still the lockdown, but maybe a missed opportunity there in a critical gun round to try to keep this one more level. Contact made over through a long Brock. Just able to get out of there.
Gonna go ahead and give the rifle over to Sim, who has the higher HP, and he'll just use the Sheriff, so I like that swap. It makes sense. Oh, whoa. Net! What? Net's like, how in the world am I almost dead? Gonna get some regrowth going on here, though, from his teammate Jonah P. Kind of gets him back right to where he needs to be, but still, that was wild.
I'll say. Barrage hit still on the way here for the Guard. Proto. Rifle in hand. Here's a lot of it. Right across the corner. Oh, brilliant flash. Thief trying to respond with the paranoia of his own, but just not able to tally on how Tex got into sight. And it will be a full wipe very quickly for the Guard, as kind of expected, but only dropping Tex is a big bonus, going up 6-3.
Now we're seeing the Guard start to kind of clamp back down here, win a couple of rounds in a row. Again, Moist usually good for 6 to 8 rounds defensively on this map on average. Right now they're at 3, so they got some work to do these last 3 rounds of the half to kind of get themselves back on pace. Sim does have the op back in his hands. They do have lockdown and Hunter Siri available. So as far as resources go, they sit out in front. But there has been kind of this momentum shift here where the Guards seem to be grabbing control of the game.
Yeah. Doors start to break over to Garage. Flya still stacked up with Thief. Lots of crowd control utility here, as Sim will be watching over the cross with Proto. So a very unique look here for Moist Moguls. Thing is, the Guard are putting a lot of their attention in towards mid. This could be a bloodbath.
There is a trap that has been set by Moist. Now it's all about how it gets sprung. As Fly and company try to put that aggression in through grass, but the Guard do a pretty good job about kind of sitting back and avoiding it.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, that had potential to be very deadly. The Guard just get away with it.
And it makes you kind of wonder as a fan, like, what was it about that opening that the Guard said, wait a second, they're stacked in mid? I mean, that's one of the first rounds you see them put a lot of attention towards those double doors to break down Garage like that, but boy, whatever the gut check call on that one was well received, and now the Guard make their way towards C.
Yep, again, that multi-pronged pressure develops into a late C hit here with some mid-lurking still going on by Tex. Hunter Suri going to come through. That is going to stall the spike from being planted. It's It's going to buy a little more time for people to start getting in position to rotate for this retake. But again, Tex could be such an X factor.
Oh, but he just missed a proto on the cross. Thief gets first blood. Tex misses a chance at another, dashes forward. Moist Moguls gonna get some stuns off on him. Tex has to delay this flank. Trent's already on for the plant. Lockdown gonna be in place here. Moist Moguls gonna go quickly. They do shut down Tex at long range. Brock trying to contest through long. Not bad, but Trent stays a little while longer. Gives Net a chance at a 1v2. Dark cover comes out. Thief working with the proto, and how about it? The latter of the two connects with a headshot, and Moist Moguls keep it within 2 rounds.
Yeah, that was a little bit tough. Tex just misses that shot on Flya. Probably thinking to himself that maybe he should have just let him jump by and he could have snuck maybe behind. Obviously, the lockdown was a big factor as well, working against the guard there. Really well done by Moist Moguls here. Beautiful shots from Thief and Brock there. And a proto wastes no time taking Net off the board. So that's a big round from Moist Moguls to keep themselves in a tight half. Op still up for Sim. Bit of a slow start though so far, I will say.
Yeah.
Definitely need to see him kick back into gear. Him and Fly are such big team, such big factor for the squad usually.
Yeah. Wow, look at the reveal here from Brock. Lots of intel, but Sim pushed off his angle through sewer. He does have help from Flya. Trailblazer comes out. Tex still takes the peek, plus the knives. Sim comes up empty again. Oh, this time though, resets, holding his ground, trying to make up for missed shots in the past, and boy has he. Huge double on a Sim. Moist Moguls now with the numbers in a 4v3.
Now it's a tough pixel shot to hit on that second player, and he gets some damage onto Tex, which Flya will then build off of. So Sim is really rising to the occasion here, and now 2 kills and a massive assist. It's going to put just Trent and Net alone in a 2 versus 4. They have no presence anywhere else on the map. They have no idea what's going on. All they have is time and the spike on their side. Sure, Sim's low on health, but it's going to take something pretty crazy here for the guard to kind of reel this one back in. Their best bet is getting the proper read and getting a C plant and hoping to somehow hold off the retake, but they just can't know what's going on across the map.
The thing is, even though Trent will scout out some of this utility from the Killjoy, Thief is nearby with the paranoia if he wants to try to challenge. Second nanostorm comes out, 24 seconds on the clock, and there's Thief. Wow, well done. Huge for Sim to hold his ground and just kind of force the square peg into the round hole, right? Miss the easier shot. Come out, say, don't worry, boys, I still got you. Collects 2. Now Moist Moguls 1 round away from tying up the half.
Yeah, that second shot he hit was
unreal.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Just not much Jonah P showing there. And he still finds it, and again gets that assist with Flya. B finishes the job there from the back of B. And we're right back into a tight race. Tit for tat, 2 rounds apiece. These last 6.
And stack for Moist Moguls up mid. Sim, Hag, still wants the angle, and well, we'll give it up. Great reach from guard. Deleted. The card just clear out the doors, and once again, the opening ideas from Moist Moguls not going to work out here.
Yep, as soon as that turret gets triggered, they start spamming. They push Sim off the angle with the op, but Sim just kind of retakes it inside a window and still may have a crack at this. Trent throws a shoulder, though, baits out the shot, pushes him back, and that's going to give Garage control the guard.
Here we go. Execute over towards the Proto. He's been so good as a Killjoy for this squad. Lots of damage from the Nano Swarm. Rolling Thunder comes across this side. It does affect the Proto, but it also hits the vast majority of the guard. And Thief steps in, makes sure the defense holds. Net, Jonah, Tex, trying to find a way to recover the spike for the guard here. 45 seconds on the clock. And now all of a sudden, kind of shoes on the opposite foot. You've lost out on a lot of your utility. Moist Moguls in a great spot. Net battling to the 3v2. Attacking lockdown gets placed. Thief still trying to hold up close. Do they know how close up Jonah P is? How has he gotten 2? Are you kidding me? And now with the site getting cleared, the spike can get collected, and Brock finds himself in a 1v2. Jonah holding the angle. Shoulder comes out. Brock will get the cross. 18 seconds. Do you play for the kill? Do you play for the spike? Brock is still kind of holding. Flash out. Spike collected. Brock still holding. 8 seconds on the clock.
Spike down.
Net gets the spike. We'll have a chance to plant, but the recon bolt's been earned. Still a shock dart available as well. There's the spam. Lots of damage. Shock dart, does it finish? Not quite. Net down to 41 health. Brock, out of ammunition. Oh, doesn't want the operator. You just got to reset this, brother. Sees a small shoulder to his left. Gets a tag. Net down to 1 bullet worth of health. Brock has to be the one to go. Now makes his move. The 1v1. Still delayed. Brock's got to still find this one out. Toggles, where's Net gone? He's got no idea. Net's gotten around the back, and Net will clutch it up for the guard. A 7-5 half.
Can't use that yet.
What a clutch
Switching
from
sides.
Net. Just milking every second off the clock he could with such low health against so much attention for this team gets thrown the way of Tex and Shrimp because of how individually talented they are and how they
Last
rate
player standing.
when it comes to stats. But Net himself,
Enemy remaining.
such a solid Sentinel player for this team. He might be, man, I don't know. What other Sentinels do you put up against this guy in the league? I mean,
I have no idea.
He's up there, man. He's got to be. He's had so many moments like that for this team throughout Challengers where he kind of saves the day. Definitely think he might be one of the more underrated players in Challengers.
Oh, man.
Down.
What a first start.
Wow. That was crazy.
Yeah. Let's take a moment to collect ourselves a touch here as now the guard looking to get a bit aggressive through mid here on the defense. Moist Moguls are fully stacked with intentions towards A. The guard will not have any initial information on this, but the ability for them to put together a flank would be huge. Moist Moguls are setting themselves up for a post plant that would lean towards the offensive side of the map here, but that's changing rapidly. Sim's already pretty far forward up. Tex gonna catch Proto, or will he? The classic outwins against the Sheriff plus extra. Oh my, and then the secondary flash is great. Brock fobbles up. What a response from Moist Moguls. Now it's just down to holding from the front.
remaining.
Ghost will get the job done for Sim. Net fault line beyond recognition, and Moist Moguls take the second pistol.
That was beautiful team play from Moist Moguls. Again, it's a team that we've seen develop over the year. From the first split to mid-season face-off to now, they've moved from middle of the pack to a top 4 squad. They are one of the teams that has maintained the same lineup throughout the year and has just kind of developed that chemistry over time. And I mean, just the utility usage, the timing on the peaks, everything. A chef's kiss that round.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's going to allow them to get that economic advantage early here in the second half and quickly work towards that tie on their map. Again, the map they are undefeated on.
It's one of those moments of Moist Moguls doing what they do best. Although this time, patience through mid. Jonah gets one. Do they know that Tex is down here? Yeah, great counter flash of Moist Moguls. Oh my. Who cares about first bloods? 3 quick, clean kills. Jonah trying to work his way back over. Does get a piece of Thief, but not enough of them. Net, last one left with the Sheriff. Will try to hold this from C-Long.
Yeah, it got a bit scary when that paranoia hit, and you thought maybe the guard were going to start getting out into grass and start getting some shots down, but Moist Moguls recover, and Net not even allowed to grab the orb there. Fly will take him out, and that is going to be a tie game with only one player being lost, so very efficient from Moist Moguls. Coming into the bonus with 3 rifles. This would be a massive round to convert on if Moist can do it.
Huge. The fact of the matter is, Moist are keeping this tight without Sim being a major factor. Save, we'll say what, 2 rounds, which he was able to assist Moist Moguls get on the board, but 5 and 12 from Sim is very atypical. So the fact that you're getting the job done by Thief, Brock, and of course the Proto, definitely helpful, but you have to feel for Moist Moguls that you need Sim to start getting involved on a more active basis here from the offensive side. He's going to be the first one through. Immediately dashes on in towards B, right over the top of the alarm bot, looking for more. Fault line tries to enable him, but it doesn't actually connect onto Net. First blood tallied for the guard.
Yeah, an attempt at finding a timing there, but it's thwarted by Net. Aftershock will clear out logs, but the snake bite will stop them from being able to collect on that clear. Shot dart's coming toward the C platform, but Trent staying alive. He's got Net as a buddy to help him out.
Not bad at all here. Moist Moguls come away the victors of the trades. First idea stifled, but the secondary hit, very clean. 2v2, Bulldogs versus a Vandal and a Phantom for the guard. And as Thief gets the first, now it's just down to Jonah P. We'll have a guiding light earned. But this is a very difficult position to try to hit this from. Stack up in the corner. Guesses it incorrectly. Flash does connect though, 10 HP. Do you predict that Thief is in the same corner? He's looking for it! Oh, whoa, What kind of game sense is that from Jonah P?
Oh my goodness, dude.
Clutch.
And here's a point I do want to make, though. I think it's a bright time to pull this one out for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
The Guard is the only team in Challengers to have multiple players within the top 10 for clutch percentage. Guess who one of those players are?
Jonah P?
Yep. Wow.
Set me up for that one, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like you had a pretty good shot at that one.
What did you hit me with Valen?
Valen's the other one.
Oh, sick. This is like those TikToks of like guess the top 10 for this. Yeah, you know, we do watch this game for a living. Oh, and Trent starts off with an opening onto Sim. Paranoia comes out. The snake bite will put a lot of pressure on the fly of the Aldro, and well, thanks for flying in. But Moist Moguls battered off the start of round 16.
Wow. How quickly this half momentum has changed. Still early days, though. Don't get me wrong. Don't count Moist out yet. Not even a chance.
Oh, yeah.
This round's going to be tough, though. 3 versus 5. Thief already down pretty low on health as well.
Proto does have a lockdown, though. You get 1 kill. Maybe a chance to hold off this retake from the Guard. Good shock dart. Chunks a couple of players, and oh, follow-up even gets it a little bit further. Hold on a second. Moist Moguls can still hold this. First shots are good. Brock off the corner working it with Thief. That's going to go 3 for 1. All of a sudden, we're down to a 2v2 situation. Valen, one of those clutch players you mentioned, though, takes down 2. Oh, Proto almost on 1 HP. But Net says no way, no how, but goodness, did Moist Moguls almost pull that one off.
Between the shock darts and the stand of the smoke, they were doing beautiful things into that A-Link. That was really making that retake look scary for the Guard. Again, Moist Moguls is a team not to be counted out. They will fight you tooth and nail. They are a very strong squad, and even in that 3 versus 5, they are deadly. They did everything that they could to try to pull that round through. They maximized their utility to the fullest, and they got it down to a 1v1 in the end. But the Guard do just hold on. Very expensive, though. A lot of rebuying has to happen because of that, and they're actually behind resources-wise. They have to go to Guardian and Bulldog, and there's 3 ults for Moist Moguls.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This could be a big swing round here.
Recon bolt not going to reveal too much here. Moist Moguls still working on a long positioning. The only one in their way is Jonah P still on the Bulldog. Tex, Guardian in hand. Those are the only real weird things about this round outside of the ults that you had mentioned, and Moist Moguls will get to work kind of feeling out the entirety of the map.
Yeah, again, Moist Moguls is a pretty dynamic team in the attacking side in their own right. Like, they're pretty good about spreading the map, playing default, you know, mid-rounding. Again, they developed that chemistry over time, keeping this roster together the entire year. I think they're at their best when they play their explosive Valorant with Sim, you know, kind of being guided forward. But again, the fact that they can, you know, slow it down and play standard and keep you guessing is nice to have.
Yep.
You know, to be able to be dynamic and not be some type of one-trick pony.
Toxic screen will run out of gas. Tex holding the early cross. Again, Guardian in hand. Snake bite holds the front door. Sim looking to dash on in. Tex will be tested. Sim doesn't even bother with the 1v1, though. He just pushes right through it. Oh, man, well played by Sim here. Catches Trent. He knows that Tex is somewhere around these boxes. Will double down, but the whole thing is this is actually a play over towards A, so the defense gets halted, and as Thief gets the opener on the A side of the map, the spike gets planted, and it's a clean hold here for Moist Moguls so far. 5v1, Jonah P last one up, and well, you just don't expect them to really do too much here as far as trying to go for this.
No, that was a beautifully designed fake. It may not have even been a fake initially by design, but just the way it was playing out, what Sim was able to do by himself. Once he got inside, he was able to jump past the snake bite, get into the center of the site. You know, Texas kind of gets neutralized, allowing Sim 2 1v1s. He wins both of them. And of course, all the rotations start coming that way because of the pressure that Sim is creating, and all the while, the Spike's able to slip in behind an A. A beautifully designed round for Moist Moguls, whether it was on fly or designed from the start. It doesn't matter. It gets the result you want, which is a W. And it keeps this game close.
Couldn't get much closer than this, friend, I'm telling you. Wow. This is exactly what we wanted to see. Kind of, we mentioned it, but if you're kind of out of the loop on it, last time these two teams played, it was not necessarily in full force as we expected. Oh boy.
And I felt bad for Moist Moguls on that, by the way, because it's like they can't help.
You
who
can't
they
help
play
that. Yeah,
against.
exactly. And they still played great. Like, you can't fault
Right.
them at all.
And they
but-
win the series, but then there's that caveat, oh, well, they didn't have their full 5, and it's tough. You can't do much about that if you're Moist Moguls, but now is your chance to play the full-on guard.
Yes, sir.
And they are right there with them neck and neck right now. And now they have economic advantage, a chance to tie this game up.
Hunter's Fury lockdown and the knives in hand for Sim. And Tex is close on this corner. First knives missed though. Fault line comes out, trying to follow up. Dashing, cloud bursting. Tex tries to reset, but no. Sim will connect. Knives now fully back into the pockets
Killed my
of the
bot.
offensive jet. Spike being planted. Sim still teeing off. Valen actually,
Sim was not
well
stopping
done.
for anyone, bro.
No, why not? Post plant set up here towards window now. Jonah P, the only rifle in hand, right on the other side of Sim, who just trying to float over. Doesn't quite work out. Trent tapping away while multitude of members were flashed up, but could not quite tally the kills needed to make it too interesting, and we're locked in, tied at 9.
Yeah, dude, it didn't matter what got thrown at Sim. He's like, I'm sending it all the way. I'm going all the way through B, all the way through A link. I am getting my man. And he did indeed take Tex out. And now we're all square. But Tex now has the operator defensively. Alt advantage for the guard. Lockdown and Viper's Pit. Massive tools to use here defensively. Hunter's Fury, though, is on the board for Brock to cancel out a potential lockdown from net. And let's see, Tex looking to take this op down long.
Yep. Chance for maybe first contact. Flash will push him off. That's just to essentially cause some focus to happen here
Yep.
in A long. Moist Moguls are just hard focused on going quick over toward B. Now, there is some utility in their way.
You
Lockdown
should
will be
run.
spent early for this execute. Do they commit to this, though? You don't necessarily have to. Counter lockdown will make them think about it for a moment, but all Thief still commits in. He gets taken down. That's your
Spike
spike
down
carrier.
mid.
Uh-oh, not great news here for Moist Moguls.
No, not at all. We had the Venn diagram, Killjoy lockdowns, and the Killjoy utility, particularly the Nano Swarm, stopped the spike from able to go down before the lockdowns are finished their job. And so now Moist find themselves a player behind, an alt burnt,
Oh, gosh.
and now Tex has a beautiful angle to kind of solo out A for a little bit. That owl drone, though, is going to be a threat. He has to hide behind double stack. Now he's pushed back. He's got support.
Oh, Sim! Oh my goodness, that is a great fault line from Flya.
Fulminate out.
It lands, but I think Jonah just hits the one tap. Holy, how good has Jonah
That's
been in this
tough.
map?
That's tough because
30
Fly, like you
seconds
said, hit a
left.
brilliant fault line. You feel like that's going to be a battle won for Moist, but somehow
Yeah.
Jonah P still wins the fight. That's crazy. It's not a mistake by Moist by any means. It's just sometimes you just get aim diff. Like, I don't know. Now
Oh,
it's all on
clock.
Valen.
Yep. Rock, hold on a second. He's got a corner here. He's got an angle. 2 kills will drop. 10 seconds of the clock.
10
Proto
seconds
looking for the
left.
plant. Flya here to support. No utility for now, but a fault line is about to be earned. Long flank from net. Make sure that the post plant stays on site. Alarm bot will meet him if he tries to go up Sewer's ramp. Sentry turret also down. There's the first flash from Jonah. Proto doesn't get affected. Holds back the initial play. There's the alarm bot. Net tries to full send it, but denied. Flya now on the cross. Steps
Enemy
in.
remaining.
Takes down Trent. Oh my! How about this for Moist Moguls? Oh goodness! A Proto does it all. The plant plus the 3 kills. And now Moist Moguls take their first lead in a while.
And it's the veteran, a Sentinel from long, long ago. Still on that roll. Probably right there next to net as far as some of the strongest Sentinels in challengers.
One enemy remaining.
Comes up big on this clutch, winds up with the hat trick. It was one of those rounds where the guard looked like they were in pretty good shape. Jonah P gets that huge kill through the link into B site. It's looking pretty good for the guard, but Moist rattle back, and now they have the lead, and now the guard are the ones on the low buy.
Knives at the ready though for Tex. Vandal for Jonah P. That may be good enough. The Moist Moguls will respect it. Not do anything too crazy here. Net will be flashed inside garage, but ultimately he's fine.
Again, it's Moist trying to spread the map, create pressure all across, try to keep the defense guessing. They know that they have the firepower advantage. They have Hunter's Fury as a way to kind of pave a way forward once they decide they want to commit. Meanwhile, the guard are kind of left guessing. They were playing forward A initially, but then they
Yeah.
had to fall back, so they don't really know what's going on across the map. They're going to gamble on this A side. Unfortunately, they've chosen wrong. And now this is a chance for Moist to pounce on the C, force them to play retake.
And Moist Moguls are still considering showing some force here over towards A. That recon bolt will keep the guard planted a little while longer. And this will inevitably be a C hit, but
Yep.
there's a chance here where Net, I was gonna say through mid-map, may catch one. That's enough information to get the
30
defense
seconds
a bit of a leg up on the rotation. Smoke will block the sentry turret. Net also not even bothering trying to tap through that tunnel. So Thief with the plant. From the shadows being spent. Does Valen stick this? He does. Oh boy, but there's alarm bot in his way. And he has to find success from the front. Oh, and Tech's not gonna get his way in. Trento follows up. Valen, okay, wait a second. From the flank, he's been fine. And now in Moist Moguls, they're hard focused on isolating the back. This will give a little bit of space for the guard to work from this top side of C. But Smoke keeps them safe. Hunter's Fury also at the ready. Paranoia right down mid. Well played by Moist Moguls. One player in the corner though is Net. Now the last one left, and oh, very well done by Moist Moguls. It's punishing, but it's still 11.
Yeah, I love their response to Valen's flank. They decide to just group up and push them together, knowing that if they can solidify their hold on long C, they have the Hunter's Fury they need to kind of ensure the victory. And they knew that the pressure would be on the guard to kind of run them down. They knew that the guard were on lower firepower. So that's just good decision-making from Moist Moguls through and through. Good job poking at A enough to keep people interested. They find that free C site, get spiked down. Again, defend Valen's flank, only allow him one frag, and then play off the Hunter's Fury. Again, Moist Moguls is a team that has to be credited with how good their team play has developed over the year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're right up there with the rest of these squads in the top four as far as how they're, doing strategically. And now they're in this whole boot camp setup. That's, I'm sure, been helpful on kind of boosting them even further. And again, it's just a good mix of veterans and kind of young up-and-comers.
Man, what a match this has been. I mean,
It has been.
Map one banger here between these two.
Yep.
Guard off the timeout. Need to put together a response. You're running out of time, running out of rounds, and still not looking good economically. Just the Vipers, but you're going to feel like this is going to be spent right off the rip here and force Moist Moguls to do something to either clear it or play towards the outsides of the map.
Dude, look at Thief and Brock just killing it right now next to a Proto. That was just something that was mentioned on the desk yesterday, and it's a good point. Between Split 1 and Split 2, Thief and Brock have leveled up.
Oh, yeah.
And considering how strong Sim is, for that to have happened, that is massive for the squad overall.
Yep. I agree. So Viper's Pit will be used over on the A side of the map. Guiding Light will see nothing is contesting through long for now. The thing about this is Moist Moguls could try to overwhelm with just sheer force of numbers. The only thing really in their way is going to be Net and his utility here at Link. Hex, do you sniff this out? Flash, Cloud Burst, spam on both sides, and it will go 1 for 1. Net steps away though, oh goodness. Pinstripe kill feed. Valen continues the trend. And the numbers will ultimately, at the first blood engagement, go the way of the guard. Still though, Brock will have a chance to plant. They're gonna give it to Proto, and once he plants this, he's gonna have lockdown available.
Yep. Really good quick call there to transfer the spot to the other player just so that lockdown can get put into play, but a Proto's still low and it's still main advantage for the guard on this retake.
Oh, and a Proto can't get out, and yeah, the guards say, cool, lockdown. We're just gonna run at you. Man, that's a tough position to be in. You get the lockdown, you feel like there's not much of an exit, you try to use it to gain one, but just not enough control around the site, and the guard bring us back to within a round.
Yeah, you gotta have the attention to detail to do that on the fly, but it's just one of those situations where you're still down, and man, you just have to make a dangerous cross that exposes you to this garage hallway. And with the numbers, the guard get the job done. Keeping it close, 11-10. Still though, Moist Moguls on a full buy with Rolling Thunder available, as well as from the shadows that Thief can use to throw in some doubt and some fear.
Yep.
Nona P does have Seekers. That's obviously very useful, but it's kind of do or die time for the guard right here.
I agree. Seekers, though, like you mentioned, maybe used over on the A side, and we've seen a lot of Jonah P here at A defensively. Moist Moguls going to be largely scouted out by this Trailblazer. And Tex, timing-wise, look how far forward he is. There's the Paranoia. It backs a player out. Good freebie for Tex. And he's going to be able to get away. The fault line does connect, but it doesn't make a difference. That is so cheeky from the guard.
Yeah, really great little trap sprung with Balance. Paranoia to allow Tex to make the play. Rolling Thunder comes through to clear them onto A site, but the defense backed off and
yeah.
with the Seekers right as soon as the Rolling Thunder is gone. And look at the frags go their way.
Spike down.
Oh, on the reload though. Thief. Oh no! Valen makes the quick swap over to the Classic. It makes good for now a tie game at 11, but you called it perfectly. The Rolling Thunder just comes up a little bit too late, and the guard escape possible disaster and completely flipped the script.
I think the more impressive thing was how quick the guard re-hit back onto A after the Rolling Thunder expired off the back of the Seekers. I mean, again, when you have a team like this who's been together for so long and has that Kim, they're able to make those decisive calls rapidly to gain those little edges. And now they tie the game up. And now it's up in the air on who's going to come out on top at this point.
Yeah, I'll say.
Who knows?
Nah, who knows? Tax operator in hand, though, this time is watching over towards mid. Moist Moguls is going to go quick, little flash and dash on towards site. Trent affected by it, gets a snake bite down, some damage is earned, but still the kill's going the way of the Moist Moguls. It's Valen up top.
The tempo change.
Oh, wait a second, Valen gets 2? How does he just get 2 from heaven like that? Makes things a little bit more interesting. Tex turns it into a 2v2, and just one small miscue for Moist Moguls turns into a lifeline for the guard. Spike planted, net on the quick wrap, has already made it to long. Proto's utility does not see it in any form. This is all about isolating Thief first and foremost. Can Thief put together a shot through hell? Oh, he sure does. Are you kidding? Now Tex has to make a call. He's going to fall right into the trap, and Thief will get both. Moist Moguls, map point.
Again, you got to respect the pacing change from Moist Moguls to go away from that kind of slow, methodical, you know, multi-route pressure mid-round into something. Nah, they just send it a completely flash and dash to site player on A side. Looking real sharp. Again, Valen, though, makes kind of a crazy play. You called it right. I mean, that was kind of out of nowhere, a little RKO action. But in the end, Moist still are able to reel it in. Big frag from Thief on that flank. And now they have map point.
Yep. Quick hit, Sim. Ooh, Tex. Trying to give it a go through long with the operator. Not going to find any sort of connection early. Over the top. Sim sees one on the exit looking for more, but not going to quite be able to get there. Tex still holding on across. Thing is, Sim has gotten through. Fly with the safe plant.
Spike planted.
Now Tex with knives of his own. Blandame battle just outside. A Link. Net avoids the owl drone. That could be crucial. Aftershock spent. Shock dart to follow. Here comes Sim. Flashed out, though. Opening exchange. Looking good for Moist Moguls. On the fall, though. Jonah gets another. Now it's just down to net. This would be a 1v3 technically for him. 2 more to grab. Recon bolt comes out. That's enough for Moist Moguls to take the peak. And with that, the round map 1 goes the way of Moist Moguls. 13-11.
And there you have it. Moist Moguls in a grueling battle that goes the distance and then some. Come out on top yet again. This is now their second time beating the guard on this map, and this time around it was the full lineup. No excuses to be had. I mean, just a beautiful game for Moist Moguls. Their attacking side was spectacular. I love the pacing changes they threw in. I love the composure when things were getting heated. They kept their wits about them and got the job done. And again, we're continuing to see that this team is becoming more and more well-rounded. It's not just the Sim show. It's not just the Flyer show. Now you're seeing guys like Brock and Thief level up time and time again throughout the second split and now into playoffs. So again, Moist Moguls, as we've been talking about for some time now, Shift, they're just building and building, bro. They're just getting better and better. Stocks are rising each and every game. And we got ourselves a series on their hands now.
And just wait till you see the scoreboard. Sim, talk about the definition of resilient. Had a very slow start, a couple of missed stop shots. He makes up for it. And then that second half, it was all gas, no brakes for Moist Moguls. Up 1-0 in the series. We step away for a moment and have the desk on the backside of the break to wrap up their thoughts and get us ready to go for map number 2. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Do you want to ask your favorite player a question after their match? Forget their in-game settings? The Fan Zone encompasses fan banners, a player's settings channel, and a lot more. Here's how you can join to gain access to interact with fellow fans, cheer on your favorite team. Firstly, join the Discord at pks.gg/discord. select NA Challengers Fan Zone. Pick your favorite team from the drop-down menu. And don't forget to show off that banner in Discord and on your socials. And that's it. You're in. You can now interact with fellow fans, ask player questions, and rep your team properly.